Welcome to this course. As we said, contents are important, and then it is almost equally important that the speaker should be understood by the listener. And the best way any speaker can be understood by any listener is by speaking slowly. Speak slowly, much more slowly than many of us in Asian countries, in African countries do. The session today will talk about why we should speak slowly and how we can acquire the habit of speaking slowly, unless, of course, as some of us do, we are already speaking slowly. Okay. English, unlike many other languages, is a slow tempo language for many reasons. They have a good number of long vowels, unlike many other European and Asian languages. Unlike many other languages, English also takes a pause within the sentence. In Unit 3 of this course, we will talk about pauses within the sentence. But just now, let us agree and admit that in English, you pause not only at the end of the sentence, but also before, also within the sentence, at the end of a phrase, at the end of a clause. So that makes English a slow tempo language, unlike Asian languages where mostly we pause only at the end of the sentence. That is why English speakers pause after, standard speakers of standard varieties pause after each group of words such as phrase, clause, sentences. I am going to give you an example just now.
I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a
Okay? The kind of time that Martin Luther takes in this public speech is a good tempo, is a good speed at which we should talk. Almost anyone would understand us without difficulty. If you like, you can look at your time, look at your watch, and see how many words Martin Luther King produces within this time, and you can compare it with the time we use to produce many more sentences, many more words. So once again, please.
I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream.
In about 20 seconds, King produces only about 20 words, whereas many of us produce many more words within the same time. As a result, we cause stress to the listener, and listeners have to understand so many more words within the same time. You can look at any other example Any other? Let's look at one more, right?
My deepest thanks to the Academy. I'm afraid I have to warn you that I'm experiencing stirrings, some in the upper abdominals, which are threatening to form themselves into dance moves, which, joyous as they may be for me, it would be extremely problematic if they make it to my legs before I get off stage. So I'm going to do my best to be brief with my gratitude first for being on this extraordinary list of fellow nominees.
Okay, about 41 seconds to be precise, as the computer before me tells me. And how many words? Fewer than maybe 50. So that's the kind of tempo we should use when we speak on public occasions, in formal situations, when we make presentations, even to our teachers, even in our classrooms, even to friends. Slow speech is our best chance to be understood. Let's go to the next screen. The more frequently you pause, the better you convey meaning to the listener. Words flow one after another, and unless you speak slowly, it's not very clear to the listener which word belongs to which group. Slow speech keeps that unmistakably clear, and you can convey meaning unambiguously through tones. Say, for example, look at this very popular, very famous example of how in English different tones, different kinds of pauses can convey different kinds of meaning. So, for example, look at this sentence, quote unquote, a woman without her man is nothing. Now, this can have two meanings, as the slide on the computer shows. First, a woman without her man is nothing. It can also be the other way. A woman without her man is nothing. It should be very clear to all of us that, slow speech gives us time to articulate each word carefully, correctly, and to place each word together with the other words where it belongs, so that the meaning is unambiguously, meaning is most clearly conveyed to the listener. Rapid speech, on the other hand, which is what many of us do, many of us produce more than 11, 12 words per second. So, for example, in the time that Martin Luther King took to produce 20 words, some of us would produce maybe 100 words. Now, that is called rapid speech. Now, rapid speech causes distortions in sounds. If you do not give enough time to each sound, then sounds merge into one another. They overlap, they interpolate, they get coerced, coalesced, pushed. It's like an overcrowded railway train compartment meant to take 20 people but carrying 200 people. So imagine the discomfort that everyone feels there. It's almost the same way. I'll give you an example how sounds get distorted, how they change form and shape when you produce too many sounds, too many words within the limited time. Look at the first strip on the PowerPoint slide before me. Can you make out what it is? Take about a minute if you like. Can you make out what it is? Perhaps you can with some effort. But if the letters were clearly written, if words were separated from one another, then it would be easier for you. Look at this next, the second strip on the PowerPoint slide. Is very clear. You do not need 1 minute. You do not need even 10 seconds. In one look, you get it clear. It says, I can never forget my first para jump. Okay? And actually, you can take right pauses. You can say, rather than say, I can never forget my first para jump, you can say, I can never forget my first para jump. There were 7 of us, each more scared than the others. This is slow tempo language. You give time to every word and you give time to every listener to take every word. This is our best chance to be understood by our listeners, no matter who they are and where they come from. Slow speech is easy for the listener to understand. We know a lot about how we speak. Lungs produce speech air, which is manipulated by our vocal cords, which is further manipulated by our tongue and jaws, and we produce a whole range of different kinds of sounds. We also know how these sounds are transmitted through air waves, through the turbulence caused by speech air going out of the speaker's mouth into the air. We know how speech sounds are transmitted from the speaker to the listener, but we know nearly nothing about how listeners understand these sounds. We only know that speech air strikes cochlea inside both our ears. But what next? What mental processes, what cognitive processes separate road from load, wet from wet, wet from fret? What mental processes keep one sound distinct from another? We hardly know anything about. And therefore, lots of people say that when you speak slowly, politely, when you are relaxed, when you are comfortable, when you give your listener time and attention, then listening happens best. Each listener, regardless of their proficiency in the language, then get enough time to understand you. So please cultivate the habit of speaking slowly. It is much more important than than learning the pronunciation of any one particular sound or word. Some cultures, you see, language goes with cultures. Okay? Language is not synthetic. Language is not divorced from community and society. Each language belongs to, or each dialect of a language belongs to a group of people, a speech community, and it goes with the culture of the language. In many Asian countries, when you greet people, you also make a different kind of physical gesture with it. When we say namaste, we fold our hands and we bow our head. So do Arabs, so do many other people in Southeast Asian countries like Japan, Korea, China. Similarly, with English speaking cultures, speaking rapidly, speaking fast is not considered polite in those cultures. You should look at the listener, you should be relaxed, and you should talk slowly to the listener. Otherwise, it seems like you were in a hurry, you are not giving enough time, and therefore enough respect to the listener. It is not considered polite, it is considered rude. We can look at further examples and see how it goes.
Well, when I was 12 years old growing up on Long Island, there was a cerebral palsy fair a few blocks away from my house, and they announced that they would donate $2,000 to cerebral palsy for anyone that broke a Guinness record. So at first I wanted to ride the roller coaster at Coney Island, so I called Coney Island, and they said, hey kid, take a hike at 12 years old. We're not going to let you strap yourself into the cyclone for 2 weeks straight. So I went home and I started flipping through the book and decided I wasn't going to eat a car, swallow lead pipes. So the next best thing was to lock myself in a room and teach myself how to do the fast talk.
So let us listen to another, please.
Kamikatsu in Japan is fast moving towards becoming the country's first zero-waste municipality. It is a small town that is about 40 kilometers from Tokushima city. Residents of this town have spent over 2 decades reusing, recycling, and reducing.
Okay, once again, please, just see if you can make it out.
Kamikatsu in Japan is fast moving towards becoming the country's first zero-waste municipality. It is a small town that is about 40 kilometers from Tokushima city. Residents of this town have spent over 2 decades reusing, recycling, and reducing.
Thank you. Slow speech is polite speech. It's a mark of respect. You can talk to the prince, you can talk to the pauper, you can talk to the king, you can talk to the minister, anyone you like. Okay? Even if you make some mistakes, though you shouldn't, but even if you make some mistakes of grammar or vocabulary, it will be understood, you may be pardoned, so long as you speak respectfully. And slow speech is a mark of respect, polite, is a mark of politeness. Slow speech also gives the speaker time to think and use correct words in a correct manner. If you speak slowly, it is hardly likely that you will make mistakes, because before you utter another word, you get time to think, you get time to see your word, you get time to hear your own word before you speak. Therefore, from no matter what angle you think, from the listeners or from the speakers, slow speech is our best bet for being understood in formal situations, in business situations, in our times, in today's time, particularly when the entire world has come together through internet, through mobile phones, when businesses are transacted across the world using a variety of accents for the same language, for the same words. It is of utmost importance to admit, to realize, and to cultivate the habit of speaking slowly. Nothing helps more. But how do we learn it? How do we learn to speak slowly? It is easier said than done. It's like changing your habit of a lifetime. You began talking when you were about 8 or 9 months, and now you may be in your late teens, 17, 18, or older, or much older. How do you change the habit of a lifetime? You walk in a particular manner, you write in a particular manner, you speak in a particular manner, and here suddenly somebody comes and tells you, please speak differently. And it's not that You have one kind of tempo for English and another kind for your mother tongue or any other languages that you talk. These things go together. Those who speak rapidly in English also speak rapidly in their mother tongue, in their second language, in their other languages. In a country like India, where almost everyone is a multilingual, we sure know and realize that if somebody speaks rapidly in one language, they speak rapidly in all languages they know. So it's not easy to change the habit of a lifetime. These things are easier said than done. But is it impossible? No, it's certainly not impossible. And nothing is impossible for a determined person, and particularly when we are learning, is certainly not impossible. All it requires is some determined practice, not just in English. Today, after this session, when you talk to your friends and family in your mother tongue, try and speak your mother tongue also slowly. Because you are not used to it, in the beginning it may sound funny. Your friends and your family might also think that something has gone wrong with you, but nothing has gone wrong with you. It's only that you are learning another language. And once you get used to this tempo, then you can switch between your normal, in informal situations. Please speak the way you like. Be your natural self. But when you talk in a formal situation, when you talk to strangers, when you give a public presentation, then definitely switch to this slow tempo. It's just like switching between two languages or two dialects of the same language. It's not impossible. It's only that you need some determined practice, just as you do for learning another language, a foreign language. A lot of adults learn a foreign language. In India, for example, like we learn Spanish or Chinese or French. How do we do that? It's just the same way, 2 to 3 weeks. And if you try and speak slowly for the rest of your life, you will have no difficulty. Every time you choose, you will speak slowly. Every time you choose, you will speak rapidly. And then, all else will follow. People will understand you without difficulty. How do you know whether you are a slow or a rapid speaker? It's not difficult, it's easy. Give a self test. Give yourself a test. Take a printed page. Take about some ordinary, easy paragraph of any book you like in English. Count the number of words before you begin. Once you know the number of words, make a note. Now switch on your recorder. I'm sure your mobile phone has a recording device. Switch on your recorder and read it the way you speak. Once you finish reading that paragraph, switch your recorder off and look at the time and look at the number of words. You will immediately know if you are a rapid speaker or if you are a slow speaker. If you are a slow speaker, you have to do nothing. You already know it. Okay? You can continue to speak the same way. But if you are not, then try and speak slowly. Tell yourself after every group of words that I'm going to take time. I'm going to speak slowly. Keep reminding yourself, not only while you talk in English, but also when you talk in your mother tongue, also when you talk in your second language, also when you talk to friends and family. Let them laugh at you. they will soon imitate you. And believe me, without knowing, they will also relearn, they will also become good speakers, slow speakers of the English language and of their own language. It's not difficult. All you have to do is to count the number of words you've spoken in your recording device and look at the time you have taken, and you will know. If you speak faster than 3 or 4 syllables per second, then you are a rapid speaker. If you speak faster than 100 words per minute, then you are definitely a rapid speaker. The international standard, as many agencies will tell you, there is a body of research which says that even speakers from the same community are not understood by listeners from their own community if they talk faster than 300 words per minute. But even that is rapid. International agencies like International Civil Aviation Organization, which regulates civil aviation, the flight of commercial aircrafts, non-military aircrafts around the world, and a lot of it happens through language, through the English language actually. There the rigid rule is that all pilots should speak to all traffic controllers at speeds lower than 100 words per minute. Actually, they are tested, they are licensed. If they speak rapidly, they fail the test and they have to relearn and reappear at that. Therefore, count the number of words, give yourself this test, and you will know whether you are a rapid speaker or a slow speaker. If you are a rapid speaker, change, and your recording device will help you. And then you can also play both your recordings, the rapid speech recording and the normal, comfortable, slow speech recording to listeners and ask them what they understand better, and you will have no doubt what you should cultivate and why. Also, listen to some great public speakers, listen to some television presenters, listen to some popular television presenters, in newscasters, public speakers, and you will see that they all speak slowly, and this can be a good model for you. Like the two we played before, you can find anyone, there are lots of them on various sites at the internet, and you can profit from them. Once again, more important than learning the pronunciation of individual sounds or words is the habit of cultivating slow and comfortable speech. Invest your time and energy in it, and you will know that it makes you a comfortable and confident speaker in any situation, whether talking to one, as they say, or to 1,000. That will be your best bet for being understood. I am not saying you don't have to learn other things. You have to learn other things. We made a list of things that we will learn on this course, but this is about one of the first few things. Once you know what you are going to say, you must also know how you are going to say that. And among the things that you should do in order to say how you are going to say, slow speech comes at the top. Learn to speak slowly. Thank you. Have a good day.